Today's podcast is brought to you by Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. Accidents happen. Without the right coverage from the right insurance company, damage to your automobile can be a real financial hit. That's why Kentuckians appreciate the competitive rates and personal service they get from Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance. When the unexpected happens, count on us to help you get back on the road. To request a free quote, find your local KFB insurance agent at mykfbagent.com. Kentucky Farm Bureau, big on commitment. Hey, Matt, how's it going?
It's going well. We have a great podcast here today with a really cool guest, a diverse person, lots of different backgrounds and interesting path. But really it comes down to her and her family's farm is getting a cool opportunity.
They are going to be the Jersey Reveal farm, the host farm for the Jersey Reveal for the U of L Ag Day, which is the second one. And we are pumped up about it.
Yeah, so this is a cool thing. UK has a lot of, agriculture connections and has an ag school, land grant, does a lot of really neat things for agriculture. Kentucky Farm Bureau has been a part of that in different ways forever, through the Federation, even insurance with the sponsorships and different things. But to have U of L do an ag day is pretty cool. The athletic director at U of L has an agriculture background and grew up around that at Colorado State. And decided to have one. And it was a success last year. It was during a game later in the season against, I think they played like Pittsburgh or something.
That sounds
like that.
right, yeah.
I think it feels right. And got a win and, had a lot of fun. And Farm Bureau got to be involved. The Department of Agriculture got to be involved. Really neat that those sponsorships and those connections, that's what Farm Bureau's really good at, is just connecting with people and being a part of things. That led to helping this happen. I think the AD, Josh Hurd, kind of thought of the idea, but Farm Bureau being connected with the university was helpful in making it happen. And I know you've actually had some help. Been asked for some people, in particular this one. You found a neat connection with our guest today, Kate, and the Tucker Farm. So I think people are really going to think this is pretty neat. Every college football team does uniform reveals.
They are a thing.
It's totally a thing. Everybody's got to know what they're going to wear during the next game. And it's cool social media. It's fun. It's just a fun part of college football. And so to have somebody, have it happen on their farm, a Farm Bureau member, one of our customers, one of our people, it's really, really cool.
Yeah, I'm going to say it at the end of this podcast, of course, but I want to say it in the beginning as well. So it will be this Saturday, September 20th, and the University of Louisville is playing Bowling Green University. So that's Bowling Green in Ohio. And it's going to be a good game. I know some people are like, well, it's not a big, maybe an ACC game or something like that. Yeah. I think that's actually fun to me. Yeah. Let's pick a game that maybe doesn't want to have the normal crowd, and let's bring the crowd because it's Ag Day. Let's amp it up. And so very excited. You guys are going to love Kate. Kate is full of energy. She's in our lead class this year. One of the fellow farmers in the county actually thought of her. And if you are an avid listener, her nephew was our token poultry farmer, our egg man back last spring for our Easter episode. And so we love the Tucker family. They do big favors for us coming in and helping us with this kind of thing. But she has a really cool perspective when it comes from maybe being from a rural community, which is what we're all about. We're getting rural. Yeah. She's from a rural community, but didn't grow up on the farm side in a county that has a lot of agriculture. And so she has a cool perspective. And she says ag and athletics like first line. And I mean, like, it's like me and Matt. We almost jumped out of our seats. We were so happy.
Yeah, we maybe talk about sports too much here on this agricultural life.
People have said maybe too much.
Well, you got to talk about what you like. Yeah, that's what we were into. So, but yeah, I think she's really neat. Her story isn't uncommon in a sense. There's a lot of people that marry into this world and have to learn, and their perspectives are really neat for farmers. I think when, if I'm a farmer and I married a city gal like her, and she has a different look at this world, and I think it's helped their family farm. It's helped her.
Yeah.
I think a lot. And, but yeah, then her kind of neat connections to U of L, it made it work out really well. So I think folks are really going to think this one's an interesting podcast for sure.
I'm Renee Carrico.
And I'm Matt Hilton.
Let's get rural.
Ooh, dynamic. I should put that on my resume or my business card.
But thank you for coming in. Renee and I are super excited. You have a cool thing going on that we'll get to, but we want to get to know you first. So tell us a little bit about you. What do you do? What are you up to? What's your backstory?
Sure. I'm Kate Tucker, and I live in Shelbyville. And me personally, I am the athletic director at Collins High School in Shelbyville. And so I've been doing that for 4 years. And my family does full-time row crops, corn, soybeans, wheat, and we have a cow-calf operation at our house where we live. We've got 2 kids. They're 5 and 7, and we live on a compound with my brother and sister-in-law and their kids, and everybody. We fall farm together, and my life is a mixture, a beautiful mixture of athletics and agriculture.
Yeah,
and
farmers diversity is really important. You got to have a diversified farm and diversified life. So you're just
diversified
perfect.
wife.
You're diversified life.
Listen, I just need you to know that we've had a lot of guests, but no one has quite been able to say it. That's this podcast. We're just athletics and agriculture. I think that might just be what we do, because Austin told me right before, he was like, you guys talk a lot of sports. And I was like, we do.
Amen.
We do.
Amen.
Why not, right?
Why not?
Yeah, so how did you get into athletic director type things? How did that lead to that? How did you get there?
It all started, I went to Georgetown College and played tennis. Played tennis is loose. I was on the roster, okay? I was
You participated on the tennis team.
Yes, but I was not the star by any means.
Yeah.
And so I went to U of L and got my master's in sport administration right after my undergrad, and I just never left. I worked in U of L's athletic department for 13 years. The last 8 seasons I spent with U of L women's basketball under Jeff Walls as his director of operations. So everything not X's and O's was my category. So you do not want me calling a play, drawing up some sort of last 2-minute drill.
Yeah, leave that to him. He's
leave
pretty
that
good
to
at
him.
part,
The recruiting, the X's and O's, that's what the rest of the staff did.
Very cool.
But I did all the other items.
Yeah,
So are you from Shelby County?
I am born and raised in Shelbyville. And then when I was in my 20s, lived in Louisville. And then my husband and I, we were late bloomers. We didn't start dating till we were in our 30s, and then got married. And so when we got married, I had to haul tail back to Shelbyville because I wasn't moving my farmer husband to the city. So he had kind of already rooted in.
Literally.
Yeah. He got there first.
Yeah.
And so I moved back to Shelbyville, and then had the opportunity to be the athletic director in the hometown, have my feet in one place instead of having one foot in Louisville and one foot in Shelbyville all the time. So my kids are 5 and 7, and so we do not live a traditional lifestyle, neither one of us. And so it was just a great opportunity to live and work in my community instead of trying to do a Splitsville with Louisville all the time.
I've always kind of wondered, like, there's a lot of jobs out in the world where you're like, how did they get to be like a athletic director? You know, like how do they do that? And I feel like I don't want to say you fall into it, but it's like you got to have some connections in it. You obviously had athletics in your past, and you just kind of work your way into it. But yeah, that's pretty neat story. So there is so you have a U of L connection. You met a guy. He's kind of a big deal today at U of L.
Yes, I knew Josh Hurd when I first started at U of L. He was just starting at U of L, and now he's the athletic director of a BCS major program.
Yeah.
I'm over at Collins High School doing my thing. But it's awesome to see how he's began his journey and is now ending his journey at Louisville. And so he is a wonderful human, and he loves U of L, and he loves the athletes, and he is being a great leader for the athletic department.
Yeah.
I am so curious, and it would be interesting. We should get him in here sometime with you. Yeah. How different, you say he's at a BCS, college, and then you're at just a high school, but I bet some of the like social situations, being an athletic director and managing coaches, I bet some of those things are more similar than probably we think. I'm sure he's dealing with bigger contracts and dollars and cents on a lot of them, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of those
personalities.
things.
I would say it's just on a scale.
It's the scale difference.
Whatever he does is on the front of the Courier Journal. Whatever I do is on the Haps of Shelbyville Facebook page. Oh, did you see the Haps? Did you see what Kate said about the football team? So it's just on a different scale, but we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all there to support our kids, and we're all there to give an experience to kids. Like athletics is about the experience.
Yeah.
Only 2% of athletes are going to go pro, like actually make a career out of it.
Yeah.
Even less percentage of my athletes are going to go on to the next level and to do this. So the experience that you provide them where they are is what they carry with them. Yes, they might carry the state championship or the national championship with them wherever they go. And at U of L, I was blessed to be a part of 2 Final Four teams, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
It also helps when you win. Your job is a whole lot more fun when you're a part of good programs. And, Jeff Walls is not going to lose. So it is a blessing to be a part of a program that wins because then you're also doing the fun stuff.
Yeah.
If you had to get on the plane after the game every time with a loss, it's like, ooh, don't talk to anybody. It would be awful.
Yeah.
But it's a whole lot more fun to win. And, that's what Louisville does.
Yeah.
They win.
Yeah.
And especially in women's basketball, that's what the expectation is. And so that's why it is, it's also like a lifestyle and an expectation. This is what we do.
Yeah.
We win, and we're all committed to that.
Yeah, yeah. So how's Collins doing? Where right now? You guys, you're full go right now, right?
We're full go. We are. We have football and boys and girls soccer, cross country, boys and girls golf. I know maybe when this podcast airs tonight is the hometown showdown with Shelby County High School and Collins High School.
Right.
So we're right across the way from each other. So we've got the hometown showdown going on tomorrow night at Collins.
Okay.
So I probably will not watch an ounce of football. Between the production that is a high school football game, I actually have a 18 by 30 foot Jumbotron that we had installed last fall. And so you can run your commercials if you want to. If anybody has if you have a side hustle, maybe for some flowers or a cleaning service, I'd love to show your commercial on my scoreboard to drum up a little business.
Yeah.
But it's really fun because who doesn't love Friday nights under the lights?
Yeah, yeah.
It's just the best. The band's there, the cheerleaders are there, the parents are there. You went to kindergarten with little Johnny out there and he's doing amazing things.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat an atmosphere of Friday Night Lights. That's why they make movies about it.
Oh, yeah.
Friday Night Lights.
So help me, because I grew up and now live in a town, both of which only had one high school. So we're talking towns of 8,000 people. So Caldwell County, way west Kentucky, literally one school system. It was wild to me when I got to Springfield and I was like, you can go to 3 different elementary schools? So we had one program you worked with. And then I distinctly remember when, actually my brother was just dating a girl from up there, but she was one of the first classes to graduate from Collins. And so explain to those that are like me from little bitty towns that our crosstown showdown is cross county showdown because we got one high school. How big is Shelby County High School and Collins High School? How many students are in those buildings? Is Collins old enough now that we do have kids a second and third generation starting to get there? Because it's kind of a newer school.
It's very new. It was built in 2010. Okay. So anybody who's graduated from Collins is still, under
kids
40.
Is babies, yeah.
Yeah. So they're just now hitting
have kids, probably.
Yeah, some of them maybe. So we don't have a Hall of Fame yet.
Right.
Yeah, because we're just not old enough for that.
Yeah.
But Shelbyville and Shelby County, especially with the expansion of Simpsonville and people leaving the east end of Louisville and coming into Simpsonville, coming into Shelby County, we were just getting so big. Currently, Shelby County High School is a 4A football school. We're a 5A football school.
Okay.
So, the same thing happened in Georgetown. They got too big. They had to make Great Crossing High School and Scott County High School just because the community can handle two.
Right.
Some of the benefits are that now you have double the amount of kids that are getting to have those experiences. If you only had one football team, one basketball team, one golf team, then you've got half the amount of kids that are able to have that experience.
Yeah.
Do you sometimes wish that you could put the teams together and maybe go dominate somewhere or win a state championship? Sure you do. But I'm also from the era of we were all Rockets at one point, because we only had one high school.
Right.
But now that we have two, I think at first it was much more difficult because it used to be the only option.
Yeah.
And now there are people that have moved in, people that are coming to the community, and it's now more just commonplace to have two high schools.
Yeah. So tonight, as we're recording, my kids go to Bullitt East High School.
Okay.
So Bullitt East is playing North Bullitt. So this is a thing.
Quite a rivalry weekend.
Lots of talking on the social media every time.
All the chirping
going on before pregame, and so my son plays baseball. There's a lot of that going on before they play each other too. So yeah, that's always a lot of fun. We actually beat North Bullitt in baseball when it mattered. I'm just saying. Last year, so next we'll see what comes up this summer. So, but yeah, I think you're right. There's nothing better than a packed house of a Friday night high school football game, and the teams could be terrible. But if the crowd's into it, it's community at its best. It is right. Like I'm finally at that age as a parent where I'm seeing boys that I remember being 4. Playing football and being big, like men running around, and I'm like, what happened there? How'd that happen? And that's just really cool that I'm like cheering that kid on, because I've never really had that really honestly as a younger person until now. I'm like, oh wow, look at that, he's doing good. Way to go, buddy!
Yeah.
And I fist bump his dad. Like, oh, look at him, So that's really neat part of what you get to do and kind of help kids have that experience. I think.
Well,
really
and
neat.
I mean, what kids are learning through athletics really can't be taught in many other ways. I mean, we're talking about adversity. We're talking about time management. We're talking about, even a pecking order or reporting to a boss or dealing with difficult coworkers or, like all of these things are encompassed when you have to be with another group of people, accomplish something, set a goal, try to make it happen.
Get along.
Well, and
work hard.
I used to tell people this all the time. I was 2A school. We already know the size of the school. So, I mean, I started soccer for 4 years, but, know the pond we're in. Big fish, little bitty pond. But I used to tell people all the time, I learned more not being good at basketball than I did being good at soccer in that little pond. And I said it was because I didn't go to the workplace as a starter. You know what I mean? I went to the workplace as low man on the totem pole, and I had to work my way up. So I think it's a big learning curve for kids, whether they're the greatest, the middle of the road, or the bottom end of that bench of, are there goals to achieve? Are there positions that aren't your strength, and you need to find your new strength? And I think that's what athletics really brings to the table is not every kid's an all-star, and the ones that are all-stars had to work through something. I mean, I think it's just a learning experience all around. And so I think it's cool. I'm always excited to hear and I know I like to hear when multiple schools are in a big county like that because of the same thing you said. Like we never cut kids in my little tiny school, and those girls played in the blowouts, and we got them a goal on their senior year, but they got to be on the team. And nothing breaks my heart more than when kids don't get that opportunity. So I think it's cool you guys have been able to, more people move into a town, there's more opportunity, and you're getting to kind of build those skills for more people.
Mm-hmm. Well, and if you, like I said earlier, I worked for Jeff Walls at U of L for 8 years, and he will tell you that the reason he is the coach that he is was because he was not the best athlete. Like, he was not the fastest. He was not the one who was, maybe going to take his team all the way to the state championship. But he sat on the bench and learned the game.
Yeah.
And him knowing the game is how he can coach the game. Like, once you become a coach, you never score another free throw.
Yeah.
You never do another inbounds pass. Like, the kids do that.
Yeah.
So for him, he learned everything about basketball by being on the bench.
Yeah.
Like in the Walls family, really, his sister was the star, Jamie. She was the best basketball player. And so getting to learn the game by not necessarily being on the floor is obviously taking him to the highest heights of coaching college basketball.
And you got to love it to sit on the bench and then still want to be a part of it as a coach or as an AD or anything,
Well,
right?
it's about studying the game.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
if you're not watching the NBA, if you're not watching college basketball, if you're not watching Saturday college football, like, you have to be a student of the game.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be playing video games and doing something else and then expect to also be good at your craft.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it is
yeah.
a craft.
Yeah, yeah.
And so a lot of
Unless
that,
you want to start flying drones.
Yeah.
Callback.
Yeah,
Last week's episode is about a drone guy, and that is the only thing we've found so far. Is Matt's really proud of himself because his dad said, "What's video games going to get you?" And
Learning how to fly.
the man
drone.
can fly
That's
a
it.
drone.
wow.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
but
only
aren't
then-
those regulated like by the FAA and stuff?
Oh,
that
you got to know some things, I guess, but
Okay.
mostly it's just how to aim the drone at things. And
He is
that's
also
really-
a student of the drone work.
Yeah, I'm okay,
Hmm.
but yeah. So well, you hear a lot of connections. So we got you're on a farm.
Yep.
You do the AD thing. You happen to know folks at U of L, in particular, one particular guy who started an ag day at U of L.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
So if our listeners don't know, last year was the first ever Louisville football game had an ag day. So U of L, an urban school, right? You'll know way more than us about this. Talk about that. What did you think of that popping up last year, and what's your feelings as a farmer, a person on a farm, and your background in athletics and that kind of thing. So what did you think about U of L, of all the schools, having something like this?
Sure. I mean, a lot of agriculture is also education for people who are not in agriculture. I mean, so little of our population is in agriculture. So when you can educate others
Right.
about that field, it's an awesome platform to be on. And when you've got U of L athletics standing on that platform, I mean, it kind of marries two things that don't always merge together. Like,
Right.
yes, in my life, it is my daily life, but not many people have the athletics and the agriculture together. And that's awesome that Josh Hurd is putting his past and his family history in with his current job as well. And so, I mean, and if you don't expose people to it, then they're never going to really know what's going on.
Right.
So it's a great way to expand on showing people what's going on.
Yeah.
So I get the pleasure, the challenge, I don't know what we want to call it, to find the farmer. So this was year 2 of finding the farmer. And last year I was told a barn, maybe a U of L fan within 40 minutes of the university. We're trying this out. Let's just make it simple. They're going to do a jersey reveal video. It's going to be awesome.
And remember, you have the river as a border. So, like, you can only
You're
go
only
in
going
certain
that.
directions.
Yeah,
You
that
can't
40
go that
minutes was
way.
pretty, we're going one way. So we found Tommy Clark, who's just phenomenal. We love Tommy. And Tommy was told they're going to show up. They're going to do this video. If you don't care to be present, to make sure they know where they can and can't go, the video team's awesome, but, just be there. Then Tommy is Tommy, and she's awesome, and she's a huge U of L fan, and by gosh, that woman was on the video. They were like, she's too great. Let's have her be the voiceover. So now we set this bar way too high. And so they come back to me this year, and they're like, Renee, no pressure, but we want a farmy-looking farm. We don't have to be a barn. We don't have to be animals. Like, just
Farmy-looking
just
farm.
get us a real farm and make it within an hour of Louisville, and a U of L fan would be cool. And so I racked my brain. And actually, shout out to Matt Geisick. He, I had a few names that I was toying with, and then I had met your sister and brother-in-law, and I think we had met maybe in the past, but I don't think I knew this whole background on the U of L side. So when Matt gave me that background, I was like, oh my gosh, this could be like the perfect one. What I thought was awesome, though, was a lot of times when we have a video or something like this, we lean on our farm markets, our certified farm markets. Your Matt Geisicks, your Tommy Clarks. They're used to the public. They have a showier place sometimes. They have a petting zoo. They've got everything weed eated right out front. Everything's fancy and good. I was so excited to hear them say they wanted more of a production farm. And I think when we talked at Ham Breakfast not that long ago, that was kind of one of your excitements too, was like, hey, we do farm. This is not that farm markets are not a real farm, but if they're driving out in the country, they're going to see a few more of y'all's type of farms. So I think this is a cool step. We've tipped our toe into Ag Day, and now we're really like, hey, this is ag. And I think you guys are going to have a really cool opportunity to house them at your place to do this video.
And any excuse to make the boys have to clean up around the shop or around the grain bins is always welcomed for me.
Good.
Oh, we have visitors coming. You better clean up.
You got to clean that guy.
You can't keep your chemical stuff just laying around.
You got to clean up a little bit.
Let's clean up.
Yeah,
so I do appreciate that.
Yeah,
I do appreciate
these
that.
uniform reveal videos.
They're
if you're
so
a college, if you're a college football fan, it's a big deal. Like it's like almost a must. Everybody wanted to know what they're wearing that weekend. It used to be like everybody wore the same thing every time. Now it's like everybody's got 40,000 combos.
You don't post on every day on what you're going to wear to the office each day? That's what I do. I post on Instagram. I'm like, look what I'm wearing today. It's another
OOTD.
Collins Adidas
Believe it or
top.
not, blue jeans, boots, and a polo. That's pretty much what I do every day.
I actually became an athletic director so that I could wear athletic clothes every day and not feel bad
Is this
about
the
it.
female version of becoming the coach that's a PE teacher? Is that what you
maybe.
found?
Yeah,
Maybe.
It's athletic director. We had to work harder for it, but she gets to wear quarter zip every day.
Quarter zip and tennis shoes.
And tennis shoes, this is great. But yeah, these are a big part of a social media push for football programs. So how cool is, I mean, they always try to think of some crazy things. You know, I remember they did some like neon uniforms for a Halloween game, you know, and so they did this like horror film kind of look to it. So they really don't mess around. These are well produced. As a video guy, these are well produced videos. So you guys, it's going to be pretty cool when they come out.
Well,
to your
that's
place.
also a part of the relationship that Louisville has with Adidas.
Yeah.
So like part of the thing that Josh Hurd does well is continuing our relationships with Adidas, who can produce all of that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and like we're on the map. We matter. And so it makes it kind of up the ante a little bit.
Yeah.
When you have those resources and when you have those creative people and, you know, like we're just athletic people. We're not fashionistas. So, but Adidas is. And so they can produce those types of things.
Yeah,
but you have to give them the national audience to make it, you know, worth their while. And U of L does that.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Shelby County, but did your family farm?
No.
So, okay.
My mom's a teacher and my dad's a house builder, home builder. Yeah.
All right, talk to me. How wild was it moving on to what'd you call it, where everybody's living?
The compound, the Tucker compound.
How is, I mean, there had to be just some wild eye-opening experiences of like, how did I live just right across town from this and now I'm right in the middle of this? Like,
They have to tell me that the question and answer portion of the conversation is over because I'm like, well, what about this? Well, can you explain that? Like our kids, we obviously have a very long gravel driveway. And so the kids I was like, well, we don't need bikes for the kids because we, you know, have a gravel driveway. And my husband's like, Kate, kids can ride bikes, not on concrete. And I was like, oh, yes. Because I grew up in a neighborhood. Yeah. And so all we did was ride our bikes around the neighborhood and around concrete. And then I'm like, well, what about you and your bike riding? He's like, we just rode on gravel everywhere. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. You know, like, and it's just a lot of my timetables on how long it takes me to like get to the house and get back to town. And if I forgot something or if I have to plan, like when you got to go out a little bit further, I might be the one tailgating you going down the road being like, hurry up, I got to be somewhere because he moved me out into the middle of nowhere. No, it's not too bad. I've actually clocked it. It's like 6 minutes from town. But it's not bad. So, yeah, I mean, but most things that they consider common sense, I'm asking questions about. You know, like they're like, Kate, that's like common knowledge. Everybody knows that. I'm like, well, my last name is now Tucker, and I don't know that. So you're going to have to start explaining. You know, but like all of our, like tonight is the 4-H livestock auction out in Shelbyville. And so we're going to go and listen to all their kids with their 4-H projects and all the animals that they showed at the state fair. And then we're going to have, you know, the fundraiser auction and bid on all the kids. And so that is also where I want to make sure that the kids are explaining to me, like, tell me about your project. How did you show this animal? How do you show that animal? And like, even, you know, in like, to me, basketball knowledge is common, or like sports. I'm like, well, yeah, of course that goes with X plus Y equals Z on athletics. But in the showing world, Like, I don't know that much about showing animals, but my nieces and nephews, and we have the animals that we show that live there with us. And so they're explaining to me what all that entails. And, like showing animals is a whole nother world than having a common dog or cat at the house. It's
a very different thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we talk about that a lot, though, and I think I bring this up every time. COVID, everybody thought, well, I'll just sell direct to the consumer. And then a lot of farmers went, there's a reason I don't work direct with the consumer. And it's not because they hate the consumer. It's because they don't have the patience sometimes to answer those questions. I laugh sometimes because those questions make me remember why I do some things. Like, I know we're going to burn down, and I know we're going to put a pre-emerge in, and I know the order, I know what we're doing. Maybe I don't always remember exactly why we started doing that because we've been doing it so long. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so I actually think the Q&A sometimes makes us better advocates as the ones that were born and raised in this because we're bad. I mean, just like you said on sports, it's very easy to be like, well, yeah, like they got fouled. That's a shooting foul. There's free throws. But to the other person, that's not obvious. So I bet it'll be interesting to see the kids and the nieces and nephews be able to explain things probably that much better than even their dads can because they've been growing up with you who's been kind of pushing them to explain and tell the whys. I think that's really important.
Yeah. When my oldest was younger, he was probably 3 or 4, I was still at U of L and somebody asked him, oh, Joseph, are you going to be a farmer or are you going to play basketball? And, just directly taking what his mom does and what his dad does. And he was like, well, duh, I have to be a farmer. Only girls play basketball. I can't do that. And I did not correct that child because I was like, absolutely. That is awesome. Like, the child has only been around college girls basketball. Yeah. He's traveled with the team. He's gone to the Final Four. Like, he comes every Sunday to the Yum Center. So, like, to him, he only thinks girls play basketball. And that's awesome. Yeah. And either my kids are farming or they're at an athletic event. Yeah. And those are the 2 options. But it's a great, it's 2 great places to be, to either be in a tractor or at a sporting event, because nothing happens from 9 to 5. I mean, farming, you don't clock out at 5. And athletics just starts at 5 o'clock, or on Saturdays or on, whatever it is. Or it might be Easter Sunday and that mama cow is having problems birthing. And it's like, well, of course it is. It's a holiday. And here we go with more cow problems. Yeah. Or they're out on the road and you got to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think it is a great way to grow up. Yeah. That you can have the best of both worlds. And that's part of the reason why I love being in athletics. I loved being in college basketball because my kids have role models that are physical people. Like, they don't have to see people on TV. They don't have to see people in TV shows. Like, they have real life role models that are high school age kids now and college age kids before. And I think that is awesome for them to have somebody that they can touch, that they can feel, that they can talk to, that are these big kids. Like, my 5-year-old stood in line at the pool this summer to go off the diving board, and he stood right in the middle of the entire Collins baseball team. And he stood right there with all of them, and they're all over 6 foot tall, and he's 5 years old. Fist bumping, high-fiving, talking to them. Whatever move they do off the diving board, that's the one he does off the diving board. However they style their socks and their shoes and like, he wants to do that too. But how gracious of those high school kids to give my 5-year-old any kind of time, And so you're really grateful for that, for the older kids to love on your kids. But it just continues to go to community. The reason that I wanted to work and live in my community is so that you can also build those relationships. Yeah. And so I think that's the biggest joy of my job is the relationship piece.
Do you think as you're learning the agriculture side, are you as just an effective advocate than your husband at this point because of who you are and your connections as a non-agriculture background person, but also your role? Do you sometimes want to slap someone in the hand? That's not true. Do you have those moments interacting with teachers and parents and different things? Do you feel like you're an advocate at your school for agriculture?
I think it's also why I joined the LEAD program, the Farm Bureau LEAD program, is so that I could find my place in the family farm. Because with athletics, I also don't clock out at 5 o'clock like a banker does. That we all have very limited time, and most of it is a crossover of like, you got the kids, who's doing pickup. I'll be home at 10. I'll be home when this corn's combine, And so I think I'm more of a advocate of also where I can help, where I can, I don't know what the best word for it is, but like how I can promote and uplift and be a resource for my family. Because I am off the farm. So whatever perspective, whatever experiences, I'm hoping that it brings a bump up to something that we're doing. But I would say I'm more of an advocate of also a cheerleader for my family because they need to be celebrated for the hard work that they're doing. And I feel like they would prefer to put their head down and get in that sprayer and put their head down and get in that planter and just get the job done. That's what they prefer. That's why they love farming, is because they love to actually do the work of farming. And so somebody needs to stop and celebrate and recognize and encourage them because they're doing work that not many people want to do anymore.
Right.
And work that is very hard and very risky and
vital. Has to happen.
Right. Yes.
Right. Work that just we can't not have. I mean, it's one of the most basic things ever. So yeah. I've always wanted, people that we interview a lot of farmers that have a spouse that's new to the business either way, and it's always interesting kind of hearing their perspective. And it's so often they're the advocate. A lot of times they're the person that does get involved with Farm Bureau of the two of them because they hear the need more. They're around folks that maybe have that detachment from agriculture that they kind of need to hear it from maybe not a farmer, maybe somebody that just kind of gets it. And I think that's what's cool about your potential role. I mean, obviously you gotta put winning teams and take care of kids and those kind of things, but it's kind of a neat extra aspect probably to what you do.
But it kind of is a part of their personality. Yeah. Like they wouldn't be farming if they didn't want to get in there, get the job done. Right. Like they don't have time to go be the face of something or go advocate for something or go be a loud voice somewhere. That's what we're there for. But, there also is a influence that I have made on my family too. Like you're probably not going to find many grain farmers who are following women's college basketball and could tell me, hey, did you see who Notre Dame's playing today? Hey, did you see who Stanford beat last week? Like, I also have created a monster of somebody who is so invested now in college basketball and women's college basketball that it's like, okay, check plus. I've influenced in the right way between my kid thinking that only girls play basketball and also creating a farmer who loves college women's basketball. I feel like I've done my job.
Yeah, very good.
So when you walk in our house, instead of the NFL being on, it might be college women's basketball.
That's all right. That's good stuff. Yeah.
We're spreading the joy.
I love it.
So love.
It is September, and I do like. We can say it till we're blue in the face. It's September. Harvest is happening. Be careful. It's Farm Safety Month, all the things. I think it's a lot more powerful coming from, quite frankly, the one that's on the farm. A lot of times the spouse that is tailing or leading or is the one that is rushing to a ball game in your situation and says, hey, I've been in your shoes and I've been rushing to make it to the football game too. But if there's something in front of you with lights flashing, you got to slow down. So talk to us from a wife's perspective, from a farm family perspective, how important is safety and how big of a deal is it during harvest when we are all in a hurry to get somewhere to maybe take it slower?
Well, you don't really understand that operator did not choose, hey, it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to get in my sprayer and I'm going to move down the road, even though it's 5 o'clock. They didn't choose that. it's time to go to the next farm. So they don't necessarily look at the clock and be like, oh, I should avoid traffic. I should avoid, having to inconvenience all these other people with my equipment.
Just trying to get it done.
It's time to move on.
Right.
So they have to do it. I think that most people don't necessarily also understand. It's almost like a funeral procession. Who knows still that the proper way to go and see a funeral procession is to stop and pull over and let the funeral procession go? I mean, how many people do you see? They're still zooming by. They haven't stopped. It's not it also is a part of culture, and we've also lost a little bit of that when it comes to our patients for all of that, because people aren't being taught. When it comes to farm equipment, you need to do X. You need to do Y. These people are trying to do a job.
Yeah.
And so it's real, and you don't realize how dangerous it can be. Like, you don't realize how dangerous the grain bins can be. Like, you going all the way to the top? Are you strapped in? Who's wearing their bungee cords? Like, don't even tell me that you're going up there without your safety equipment on.
Right.
Or even getting in the grain bins or sweeping out the corn to empty it out. Like, are you wearing a mask? Are you, it can be so many things that they've always got their hand in that you don't realize can go south.
Yeah.
Like, you chopping a finger off today? Hope not. Are you going to get in an accident with a car when you're in a tractor and don't have as much protection as everybody else? So yes, it is Farm Safety Month, but I would also challenge that in the spring, we're doing just as much.
Yeah.
The planters are out, the sprayers are out, the fertilizer trucks are out. I think, yes, it is harvest, and everybody thinks about harvest with farming. But if you don't have that in the ground, there's nothing to harvest.
Right.
So I think planting season is also just as important as harvest, because those crops are either going to be crappy crops or awesome crops. You can't really do much about it in October.
Right.
But God bless the rain today. Thank you for that. Those pennies from heaven. I was really grateful for the rain today, because it hasn't rained in a while.
Pennies from heaven. I like that.
Pennies from heaven.
I had somebody tell me one time that did not grow up in a rural community, and they said, I never understand why farmers are so tore up. Hell, you're bigger. You're bigger. If I hit, what's the big deal? And I thought they were joking, and I had to say, ooh, let me explain. The safety equipment they have in that tractor, and the difference is if they roll, this is trying to explain if you hit this section, how this can break. No, this is incredibly dangerous if you hit them. But
nobody says that about a school bus. No one would dare say that about a school bus.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're bigger, but they have just as the precious kind of cargo and can have the same situation. But nobody's going to say that about a school bus.
So I think that statement to me was very eye-opening in the sense of we got to break this down a little bit further back. Like there's a human in there. There is, well, just because the truck is bigger doesn't mean you run into a pickup truck either for fun. So it's just this whole moment of kind of take a breather. Let's remember what's going on.
It's just all about patience. People are so impatient.
Yeah.
It's just to get, you're going to get there. You might be 5 minutes later. I mean, it's going to be okay,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's someone's dad, that's someone's mother, somebody's brother, cousin, and just like anybody else on the road, and just let them get to what they need to get to. And I think that's so much of it. The world is just so impatient. And I'm not going to act like I've never road raged or anything like that a little bit, but just a little patience. And these folks are doing something for you. If you may not know it because you take it for granted, but these farmers are doing something for you. Sure, it's their business and that kind of stuff.
But they're never going to say that either.
No.
That's the thing about farmers that you also have to love, is that they're never going to outwardly come out and say any of that,
right.
because they do. They put their head down, they go to work, they make it happen. It doesn't matter what it takes to get the job done. They're just going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that is, I think, one of the best parts about raising kids with agriculture is learning all of that, and just the life lessons that comes with. So coming from the city girl in the neighborhood, we're mixing it up a little bit for the next generation.
All right, so here's the deal. So this is going to come out. It's the same week as this video is going to come out. So everybody, go check it out. You can say now, in their comments of the video, I know whose farm that is. When this video posts, pretty cool. You don't really know anything other than they're coming and this is going to be a thing. So we'll actually have a video guy there also. So we're going to see
a little behind the
scenes, but we don't really know when it comes out. Usually like they do reveals like on Wednesday, Thursday of the week. So be on the lookout on Louisville football social media where they're showing off the uniform and you'll know whose farm it is.
Yeah. Well, and Renee said earlier, I started asking questions about, do they want corn that's pretty or do they want corn that's getting ready to be combined? Do they want a combine? Do they want a sprayer? What are they looking for? Do they want a shop? Do they want a barn? And she's like, you are the perfect person to have this conversation because nobody else in the agriculture community could probably discuss what pretty corn versus ugly corn is. Yeah, right. And I was like, well,
pretty corn to a farmer might be way different than
pretty corn to a farmer is the one that just got unloaded and they actually got paid.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's that check from Consolidated? Thank you.
That's the prettiest corn I got. So yeah, we appreciate you being here. This is really cool. Really neat opportunity for your all's farm to be kind of highlighted. And we love that it's a Farm Bureau member, being a part of this. I think that's really cool. And, and hopefully this Ag Day football game just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And, it's a cool way to highlight what agriculture is doing in the state at the city, at a city school or city level here in Louisville. So
yeah,
it's gonna be pretty
if
cool.
Only we could change college football season and harvest to not be during the same time, because then we could go to way more football games than whenever it's not harvest.
I bet.
Well, let's give one more good shout out. It is the U of A. And guys, I'm a Kentucky grad. I get it, but we got to support an Ag Day. Farming over everything here. So if you are a UK through and through, do me a favor, give it a watch. Let's see if you can catch any of this Ag Day stuff on the TV. It'll be U of L against Bowling Green University. So that's Bowling Green of Ohio, and that is on September 20th. So it'll be this Saturday. Give it a watch. Check out that video when it comes out. But we cannot thank you enough for being here. Thank you guys for listening, and we'll see you next time on Let's Get Rural.